double EMP on both tanks. NYXL, they've still got one tank alive, and Guangzhou doing what he does best, click heads and destroy your power.
After the EMP landed onto Silver 3 and Shocheng, but doesn't get much off of this. Floor gets shut down. Guangzhou is going to meet him in the spawn, and now we get to turn up for the Valiant, because Shocheng is going to be able to display that. Uppity here, and now the NYXL are just shoving their face in the mud. This is a nice Jonah clicking heads too. Okay, NYXL, this is a statement to be made. Because Flora, with that EMP, has annihilated them. But talk about it with Silver 3. Okay, he heard us, Jaws. He heard us talking about him.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Overwatch League. Doa and ZP here with you again for another wonderful evening, or a continuation, rather, of our wonderful evening of APAC region. We're back, shaking off the rust. It's always a couple weeks, you know, between times when we get to cast. So there's always a moment where we kind of shake off the rust a bit, isn't there?
Well, you know what? There's no better game for that, Doa, than the matchup we have coming here, because we got a team still in search of their very first win the entire season. That's right, the LA Valiant.
They are 0-12 right now. New York Excelsior, their opponents, aren't doing great either. 5-7, so they're under 500 for the season. They've got a lot of talent on this roster, obviously. They've got players like Jonak. They're good, but they just haven't quite been able to put it together the way that you would think they'd be able to with the stacked roster that they've got. I'm a little bit surprised that New York is in this position that they're in, but while you think about New York, also think about submitting some art, of course, to overwatchleague.com/art-gallery. Of course, it's, again, our Coca-Cola art celebration. Give us your best Coca-Cola related Overwatch art. If you could draw something like that, CP, what would you draw?
I mean, again, my artistic talent does not go any further than stick figures. I simply cannot draw
what would your stick figures be doing? Give me something.
What my stick figures be doing? Well, I think after recent games here, I'd probably do a tracer, like applying a pulse bomb in one frame, and then the next frame would be blinking next to the pulse bomb and getting blown up, and I would call it the decay because it would be accurate.
Yeah. I thought you were going to go with 2U eating that pulse bomb, but, you know, that works too, I suppose. Yeah. But Valiant versus NYXL, I mean, if you're a Valiant fan, it's been kind of a rough year, right? You had the entire roster drop, the entire thing move, the entire new roster, but we'll get to them in a moment. Let's take a look at New York's roster instead as we get started with this match. And again, ZP, there's so much talent on this roster, but for whatever reason, they just haven't been able to put it together. Again, it's been cool seeing Kalios come back to the Overwatch League. Again, this was a player that was on Boston Uprising back in the inaugural season. Took a bit of a break, played some contenders, made it back into the big game, into the Overwatch League, and he's played well so far.
Yeah, he really has. I think Kalios has been one of the coolest stories of the year for New York. And, you know, the biggest thing that New York has to worry about now, though, is that, maybe they're starting to put it all together. Maybe this will be a better stage, but it has to be a better stage. Right now, we've been through 3 stages of the Overwatch League so far this season, and teams are running out of time to qualify for the playoffs in New York. You know, they're a spot in the standings where, are they eliminated right now? No. But for the overall season playoffs, they have to have an incredible Countdown Cup if they want to entertain the idea of winning it all later in the year. So every match matters. And, you know, against Valiant here, it really is a must-win situation for New York.
That's right. There's the LA Valiant, like we mentioned, to a completely new roster as opposed to what we saw last year. And again, this is a team where if you're a fan of the organization, if you're a fan of any of these players, you just want to see some progress, right? They've won a couple maps. You're not expecting a lot of results from them for the rest of the season. Let's be honest here. But you would at least like to see progress. You'd at least like to see all the players in their seats anyway. As we go into our first map here, it's going to be Oasis ZP. But on the New York side, this is a match that is a must-win. I know it's a bit of a meme. I know people are like, oh, 3-0 against a Valiant, that's standard, right? But at the end of the day, you mentioned New York needing to have a good Countdown Cup, and that's absolutely true. And that includes getting definitive wins over teams like the Valiant. If you can't do that, you might as well kiss your playoff hopes goodbye. So as much as this match may seem like a foregone conclusion based on the statistics, based on what we've seen this year, this is still a match that New York should be taking very seriously.
Yeah, I mean, even dropping a single map here could be the thing that comes back and bites them and disqualifies them for the playoffs later on. So for New York, they have to be absolutely no mercy here. They have to take down the Valiant with extreme prejudice because if they drop a map, it is a really big loss for New York. But of course, Valiant, they're playing to win it because though the overall playoffs, not a great situation for them, they still can get to the Countdown Cup playoffs if everything came together. So we'll see what they got.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to go win matches, right? Flora with an early pick on the Crystal. That's a great start for New York. Flora has been one of the bright, shining stars of this NYXL team as well. And it looks like they may be on the path to get the percentage rolling first here.
Yeah, the City Center always takes a while between teams. If you get an early pick off, it's just really easy for it to stay around. But in this case,
then again,
New York is able to get control pretty early. And the Valiant didn't even really sit down and contest it. They go, okay, we're going to wait till we're back up at a full 6. And that could come back and haunt them here as now New York, they're going to play in the outskirts here, though. They're not really going to give the Valiant easy opportunities.
Yeah, that's what you got to do, right? You got to just try to take them in these little corridors here. Use the, all right, Silver 3 down. Jonak, though, gets taken out. Flora gets 2, though. So New York's still ahead in this fight for the moment. It looks like they're going to be able to keep controlling the ZP, but you're absolutely right. I mean, you need to control these side hallways like we see NYXL doing such a good job of doing, because if you can take the fight away from the point, just get more percentage that way. What do you think about these compositions, by the way? It's our first day of the new tournament. The new hero pools are in. I feel like this is kind of becoming the standard. The Tracer, Sombra especially, seem very common.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? Especially with longer range hit scan being nerfed right now, with the fall-off changes that came in. Teams are a little bit more reluctant to play things like Ashe or McCree. Tracer, though, still very good. Sombra, very good. It's either this or you run a Farrakhan.
CMP could be big.
What's developing?
Oh, detected.
Waiting. He's
all right,
just back here.
They found him.
Yeah, I don't
He's
know
in big
if
trouble.
Coming out
Has
now.
to back away.
Also, Flora's been a menace so far. Flora's been playing out of his mind, just taking opportunities away from the Valiant before they even begin. The pressure there is part of it. EMP comes out from Feather. Crystal down immediately. Shocheng, though.
Oh, okay.
Pulse bomb, knocked down.
Yeah, Shocheng did eat up Flora's Pulse Bomb, so that's a good start. Can they continue it here? That's a self-destruct they're going to need to avoid. They do just that. Silver 3 with a couple of kills. And maybe, just maybe, Valiant can actually get a little bit of percentage going, but it looks like it's going to be 99 for NYXL already.
Yeah, NYXL is a really good spot. And, losing Flora again, this should be the cap for the Valiant. Still a long way to go, but hey, City Center is one map where you can go 99 to 99 pretty easily.
I mean, it usually does, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for whatever reason, Oasis just tends to be that kind of map that you see go to 99-99. It can be difficult to hold some of these points compared to some of the other maps. They're looking for a MP here, but he is surrounded by enemies. Need to be a little bit careful here.
Right now, just building towards it. Good poke coming in. Able to take down Jonak, though, on the side. And Valiant, really nice opening. And New York, I think, was just kind of poking, building ults there, but Valiant.
Oh wow! I was
going
to say the same thing, but then Flora goes ahead and uses a pulse bomb, and although that is an ult that builds quickly, that might put him a little bit out of sync with the final push that New York was trying to put together there.
Yeah, I mean, New York will have 2 good attempts at this, although realistically speaking, if they burn the EMP here, it is just kind of one good attempt. Feather just denied.
Ooh.
That was unreal. Absolutely embarrassing. Oh.
That is the kind of play you want to see from a Zenyatta. It's so hard to do that, though. That is nearly impossible to pull off. But, did it. All right, Pulse Bomb from beyond the grave. Crystal's going to go down. Jonak taken out as well. And so far, the 99-99 prophecy may come true, ZP, here, as Valiant has been holding.
Yeah, I would say the last 2 exchanges for New York have been particularly embarrassing. The old just dying to the Zen after dropping EMP, just getting evaporated. Not the best look, as it turns out, but pretty promising for the Valiant, pretty tough for New York. New York heading into what could be their final attempt to retake.
Yeah, I mean, now it's serious, right? You got to get it done. EMP doesn't hit anyone. What?
No, it was good enough.
Did I see that?
Jonak went down. No, it hit Jonak.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
he just died so fast I didn't even see the EMP debuff on him.
Yeah,
I was
got
confused
hit
for a second there, but I'm not anymore. And
Well,
it will be a retake again.
They're holding on. 99 to
They
99.
snuck it back. And can NYXL touch? They can.
Yeah, Jonak
Right,
has
rally.
Transcends to extend things out a little bit here, but he's going to use it to save Friday. They're going to hope for Flora to come in and find something here, but New York has completely let this one get away. Friday goes down. Transcendence being invested here by Valiant, and yeah, just a little bit away. We'll see if Flora can work any magic, but Jonak is down, and the Valiant are doing a really good job of securing this Doa.
Yeah, that's right. Flora down as well with the supports dead and the primary DPS out of commission as well. Looks like Valiant might just be able to take this first round. Yep, that'll be that. And the Valiant strike first. Hey, you know, the thing is, you know, at some point, the Valiant need to start making some progress, right? I mean, you're starting to think about 2022 at this point. Obviously, 2021, you know, playoffs are out of the question, but you start to think about the future. And as a, you know, if you're a Valiant fan out there, you're going to be encouraged by a round like this. Because they were down 99-99, and, you know, some of those pushes by NYXL were a bit anemic. That was pretty cool.
Oh, you know, part of that he just got hit by. Part of that he just got hit by the orb that was being spammed out. But oh man, that was the backbreaker right there in terms of things that shouldn't happen. Or also, I mean, Feather didn't have to go for the solo EMP there either. Like the rest of New York was still setting up that. Everything about that just did not look good for New York. But you know, a great reaction coming out of the Valiant.
It's like New York used all of their skill up in the first 50% of that round, and then it was just gone for the second 50%, right? I mean, they played so clean in the beginning fights, and then things just seemed to get a little bit sloppy. We'll see if they can get it together here for point B.
The Valiant right now hanging back. New York, when they were doing well in the last round, a lot of it had to do with Flora, just finding early pickups. And there's a swap up here. That's Feather onto Tracer, Flora onto McCree. McCree has been as much favored, but still very viable.
Yeah.
Crystal now heading to the back, looking for it. NYXL under pressure. Flora already down. 5-on-5 between both teams. Feather now starting to get to work with the Tracer.
I mean,
plenty of opportunity, but it is very back and forth right now, Doa.
Yeah, it's about as back and forth as it could be. Yakpung gets 2 in the end, and that is going to help New York possibly claim this point if they can just finally deal with Crystal. They do, but that was a bit of a mosh pit for a while, but New York coming out on top in the end.
Yeah, teams are partying in the corner for a long, long time. And remember for New York, what's at stake here? We just talked about all the playoffs and how like every map matters at this point. And
really,
if they lose this round, it could be the thing that dashes them in the playoff race later on. So incredibly important for New York to pull this back. But now, it's going to be Valiant on the setup once more.
I mean, you're right, CP, as we see the nano boost used on Yakpung as they're going in. Your Silver 3 drops immediately. Good start for New York to try to defend this point. And a couple ultimates available for New York as well. They use that nano boost, but that's about it. They did lose Flora, and with High B's kill, maybe, no, looks like it's going to be a little bit longer. Yeah, there drops Mulan Run, but you know, going back to your earlier point, CP, you know, New York 5-7 on the season overall. Again, they need to win every map going forward here.
They do. Crystal is playing a little bit of pressure there, but the rest of his team already dead. So the old tactic of Tracer pulling the team back doesn't necessarily work if everyone is already gone. New York looking much better around here so far. Flora right now. Just looking for a little bit of EMP building. You know, next fight, I just looked at Merlanrand, and can you find a good EMP?
Good EMP, you know, they've got the rally and the Transcendence as well to keep the pressure on if the early picks come through. They got to get it done. Mulanran takes a little bit of damage as he's walking in. They did find it. He's not going to be the sneakiest Sombra ever. It has to back out.
I'm not. He stayed in the for a long time there too because you already had EMP built up. Just sort of, you know, you're fighting the D.Va there, but not a lot is going to happen in that situation. Meanwhile, Silver 3 caught out, taken out by Flora. I think he got hacked to start that out, and Feather wins the Tracer duel. So New York just about has this round wrapped up. A much cleaner approach than what we saw at City Center one round ago.
All right, now the EMP gets used. It does hit a bunch of members of New York Excelsior, but Kalios gets the kill on the high B right away. The bombs are dropped by Silver 3. I don't know. Nothing for the self-destruct. 99%. Nice sleep dart onto the ball.
Yep.
Yeah, gonna hit him
now
with
the
the
ball's gonna be
anti-heal.
evicted.
Yep, that's right. And it looks like New York might be taking this one a little bit cleaner than round number 1 if they can just finish off this fight here. A lot of annoying members of Valiant just sticking in the point right now. D.Va drops. There we go. Seoul Dynasty, New York rather, able to take another point here.
We just watched a lot of Seoul, so yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I know. We were just watching Seoul for like a couple hours, so that was a very long Seoul Dynasty match, so I still got them on the brain.
Yeah, saw a lot of Torb, though, so that was cool. But yeah,
it's also 4:30 a.m.
I will say here for New York, I mean, yeah, McCree might be a little bit, less good with the fall-off changes, but Flora's still quite good at Feather, more comfortable in the Tracer rather than Sombra. And, speaking about Torb being used more and more, take a look at this from New York. Feather showing Torb to start out with, and meanwhile, Far comp from Valiant potentially.
Yeah, and interesting to see the Pharah come out on University here. This is the point I feel like we've seen Pharah the least, traditionally.
It's not common. I mean,
No.
It can't be played, but you don't have as much room to maneuver skybox-wise as you do on other areas of the map, for sure. Like,
well, you pretty much stay back where Molanran is right now, right? You build up your ultimate from here because you've got some pillars to hide behind, you've got a lot more space, and then you go in for those barrages later, but
it is going to be
a bit
hard.
of a surprising deviation from what we'd expected. Good start by Crystal. Nice pick onto Jonak.
The problem for New York right now is that deal with the Pharah is actually going to be really, really hard until they mix a D.Va in. Like, a single McCree, not as effective, even with the skybox not being as expansive. So, off a composition level, I actually like this from the Valiant. It gave them first cap, and, New York, they're going to stick with this until they get full team wipe. But, so far, this is a better look for the Valiant, and Flora just has an incredibly tough job because he's not getting backed up by a D.Va. Deadeye, though.
Wow, that's a fast Deadeye. Oh, but a nice sleep dart onto Flora. Shut that one down.
Crystal going, I would like to wake him up, and instead gets caught by Friday. A little bit greedy, looking to punch to sleep.
Yeah.
And as a result, it's going to be New York taking the point.
Yeah, Soul Swap's back. Kalios, he can afford to take a nap right now.
Yeah. Definitely works out for now. And, Kalios, someone that might swap D.Va after Grav comes out. I mean, honestly, New York getting the advantage there, pretty useful. Just the fact that, like, Crystal went off to the side, the punch to sleep, and got caught, fortuitous for New York, given how this started.
Right. All right, here we go. Barrage locked and loaded for Molanran. Got to deal with that McCree first, though.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, McCree can't really kill him from back there, but Molanran's spending so much time in the back that not a lot is happening on the other end either. Dragon Strike from Crystal, going to be forcing a little bit of movement. Throws in the Storm Arrows.
Molanran
able to find
down now.
Yeah, it's not bad start. The problem is Silver 3 Crystal both down. New York just counter dove on the other side. Both teams eating a lot of damage here, kind of back and forth. New York still in control of the point, 50-23. Molanran going in a little bit deeper. Jonak out of the fight, and yeah, this is where you can just walk forward as far. Works out.
Yeah. I mean, Molanran really put that nano boost to good use. Getting a bunch of kills, able to lead that fight off with a barrage. Yakpung gets into touch, but doesn't really matter. The percentage still going to be building for Valiant here, but a lot of tools in the toolbox for New York to come back in and take this. They've got the rally, they've got that Graviton Surge, and now they've got double bubble as Yakpung swaps over to the Winston. So they've got a good amount of dive here, and a good amount of protection from the Pharah as well with that Winston shield.
Yeah, I mean, they would still really like to be on the D.Va, but they're not going to throw away the Grav. Like, they'd rather use the Graviton for this fight. So you look at Kalios right now. Where is he at? Crystal gets caught by Flora super early on. Now, working to the outskirts. Graviton still in reserve. New York pushing Valiant back, already halfway at the point. Valiant, they have to move back over, even down players. Self-destruct perhaps coming in, and there's the Graviton. Kalios finally lets it go. The fall-through's going to be there. Flora immediately in. Self-destruct comes out really late into the fight, but it's far too late to actually make any change as New York is going to get the reflip.
Well, you notice, too, just really good play by Yakpung from New York, able to put the shields down, prevent a lot of the damage from Molanran's Pharah to come in, right? And, I mean, this is a good way to handle it, I think, where Reinhardt's going to be moving pretty slowly across the battlefield. Winston can reposition quickly, get onto vulnerable targets, and get to a position where it's tough for Pharah to punish that. And you can see right away the swap for Molanran onto the Torbjorn.
Yeah, I mean, I think the swap makes sense at this point. EMP comes out really aggressively from Feather in New York. The overdiving here. Nine was able to back out of most of it. And, Molanran gets caught. Flora at the pulse bomb, so they still make it work even after the EMP fades. It's enough for New York, 98%. And Doa, that should be map 1.
I think you're right, ZP. I don't think that the Valiant have much of a chance to retake this one. In fact, they can't even really get to the point. And New York Excelsior a little bit shaky at the beginning with that first round, but they are able to clean it up and take our first map, Oasis.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out, and even on round 3, I kind of feel like New York kind of got out-comped a bit there. It was one of those things where, they were very lucky that, Farcomp, that normally is very good at holding, made a mistake and kind of let them back into it because, realistically speaking, New York probably should have been forced to go on to the Diva, the retake, but, it didn't happen. They had better mechanical plays, and as a result, they leave map 1 with the W.
That's right. Well, smiles and laughter on the faces of the Valiant players, not taking that one too hard. New York out of their seats, though, probably reviewing. Like I said, they got to get the wins here if they want to have any chance of making it to the playoffs. We'll see if they can make it a 2-0 or if the Valiant will tie up our series when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Overwatch League. Doa and ZP here with you. Now, New York Excelsior able to take map 1, but it wasn't the cleanest affair we'd ever seen, was it?
No, not quite. I mean, it was a little bit sloppy on both sides. I think there were actually times that New York found themselves a little bit outcomped, but mechanical difference, I do think, carried the day. Flora being a big reason for that overall. Big pickoffs early, keeping Crystal in check for the most part. But, you know, for New York, not the most stress-free of games when you look at this series and, you know, they were hoping for the 3-0 to maximize playoff potential. So, you know, right now I think this is kind of a game where the Valiant get to play a little bit stress-off, going like, you know, hey, we'll hope for the best. Maybe this will be a win. Meanwhile, New York, you know, all the pressure on, you know, to not look back at the season and go, well, the reason why we didn't make playoffs is because, you know, we lost the map here today, right? So a lot of pressure for New York.
It's the maps, but it's also kind of what I like to call the Dragons' dilemma, going back to the 2018 Shanghai Dragons that went 0-40 in the regular season. It got to a point, and I feel like Valiant is at that point now, where nobody wants to be the first team to give them that match win, right? So on New York, between playoff hopes, between not wanting to be that team that loses to the Valiant first, there's actually a lot of stress sometimes on these players in these situations. As silly as that seems, that can kind of mount at this point. There is a sub, too. It looks like we have Guangzhou subbing in for Feather, so a bit of a swap in the DPS role for New York. Any takes on that, ZP?
Well, historically, I mean, I'd be seeing double hit scan, right, for New York, something like, you know, Tracer with Ash or, you know, Ash McCree or something along those lines. But given the fact that hit scan did get nerfed heading into this, I think that's why I've been seeing teams favor more of a Hangzhou. I mean, you know, it'll be interesting to see what Guangzhou plays. Like, I would guess maybe they'll run something like Hangzhou Tracer, maybe. I don't know. But I do think teams so far have been kind of shying away from, you know, heroes like Ash as often in this meta so far, just because, hey, it is a little bit weaker, right?
True. I mean, we have seen a good amount of Hangzhou in Blizzard World in the past. Pharah can certainly work well, especially on point A in Blizzard World. So there's room for that. What I kind of want to see a lot more of, actually, is what Prophet was doing in our last series, is playing that Torbjorn, because he made it look so good. And you and I were talking about this a little bit before this match started, that Torbjorn, especially with this hero pool, might be like a little bit underrated, underappreciated here so far in day one.
Well, he is, and I think part of that is that on base level, Torb actually has really good stats of both his gun and his HP pool and everything, and you know the turret is a huge impact. But also, you think about how Torb's gun works; it's not affected by fall off. So if you're looking for good mid to long range pressure, and you're looking at McCree and Ash going like, I don't feel as good about that anymore, Torb is actually looking comparatively pretty good for some of the same reasons that Hangzhou is looking pretty good right now. I think that fall off change does have a pretty big impact on what heroes are viable relative to others, and teams are willing to experiment. And you know that's why the previous series you saw Seoul, I think, coming at the Torb, and why you might see a little bit more of it here.
Yeah, I mean, learning to be accurate with Torbjorn's primary fire is definitely a unique skill in Overwatch. There's no other weapon that moves quite like it, so a lot of players don't really focus on it too much. But with this hero pool, and like you said, with those hit scan nerfs, might not be a bad idea. We're about ready to go into our second map of this series, though. It's going to be Blizzard World, like we mentioned. And I like that I can look at the LA Valiant team right now, and I see smiles, right? I see them not looking morose. I see them kind of joking around a little bit. I mean, they know that their season is going to end with the regular season, right? So why not just do everything you can to have some fun in the last few matches, show some improvement, use it as practice, and take it into the future. You know?
Yeah, I think it's a much better strategy than stressing yourself out over, you know, whether you'll get the W or not. I think you're a lot more likely to get it if you're not actively beating yourself up over not having it yet. It's you know, one of those weird metaphysical things, I suppose. But yeah, take a look at what New York is coming out here with Doa the defense, and yeah, there's going to be Guangzhou on the McCree. So they are still going to run the McCree. It's not running with the Hangzhou, but it is something Guangzhou is pretty comfortable on, and I still think pretty viable despite, you know, teams doing some experimenting.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about McCree, you know, there's a lot of still good mid-range areas on this first point, especially where you're not going to be hurt by that damage fall-off, really. Not to mention, there's a lot of narrow corridors, right? So flashbang becomes a little bit more of a premium. And there's no diva on the other side, too, so he can kind of flashbang with impunity if he wishes. We'll see what he can get done, though.
Meanwhile, the Valiant land ran off on the side right now. This will be looking
sneaky.
Score a decent hack, build up towards EMP. I think though, this is kind of classic Valiant where they're taking a really long time, Doa, to sort of set up right now. They're getting zoned back, and they lose the neutral game. Really hard before Melanran gets a chance to do anything aside from get caught out of stealth.
I mean, Guangzhou with the cleanup there, 2 headshots, 2 kills. And that's the kind of momentum you want to build as a player to get started here. Oh, Yakpunk couldn't quite make it. Be able to get up there a different way.
2CP and first point of hybrid maps have probably been the toughest Valiant watching experiences here, and it comes down to the fact that they don't have the same levels of coordination that other teams do. They spend a lot of time on setup. They lose a lot of fights before they begin, and we're seeing some of this right here where you look at the Valiant, they're just taking a long time to engage, and even a little bit of poking from Silver 3 right there. The rest of the team isn't on board. New York is just chilling on top at the moment.
Yeah, with teams that are struggling like this, you usually see 2 different varieties. One is where players will be too aggressive and try to just be a hero. The other one is this, what we see from the Valiant, where you spend a lot of time, like you said, setting up, and then when you finally do, your opponent has had so much time to get ready for you that they're able to counter it.
Well, a lot of that Silver 3 is just rolling in and being like, hello, goodbye, hello, goodbye, and nothing was happening. Yakpunk, though,
scouting
might be...
Wow, Yakpunk, you are too brave. What is he doing?
Silver 3 gave it back, I guess, fortunately.
I guess so.
Yakpunk, I don't know, he rolled into the middle of the Valley and was like, I wonder what's going on over here. We haven't seen much, and just got shot by 5 people and died.
Yeah. Oh, Guangzhou's in trouble, though, down to like 1 HP, down to 0 HP. Crystal, stick? Yeah,
it got Flora! That was not intentional at all. It fell off, went to the ground and caught Flora, but man, does it work. So, all right, better late than never. The Valiants go in and take point A.
One of my favorite action movies of all time was Drunken Master CP. And I feel like I'm getting shades of that with the LA Valiant, right? Where they might be kind of stumbling their way onto the point a little bit here, but when they deliver the punch, it definitely hurts.
Yeah, I mean, I think losing Yakpunk for Silver 3 was definitely a better trade overall for the Valiant.
It's all
but
part
also
of the plan.
I think if you're Flora, you just look back and go like, what in the world was that pulse bomb? How does that hit me? What is reality? But, yeah.
All right, Mines on the cart now as New York tries to buy a little bit of time here. Get their defense a bit more stable. That's a good grab, but unfortunately no way to follow it up as Flora was not close to his pulse bomb yet.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things where
kind of want that one back. Yeah.
New York was not on the same page. I mean, you drop the grab, it's like, yeah, we got people on the ground, but your grab is only as good as your follow-through. The follow-through is non-existent, and yeah, New York a little bit discombobulated. And now as a result, you look at the payload, it's gonna be good progress. Crystal now looking for the one-on-one versus Flora. Flora coming back over. That's not a good 1v1. That's a rigged 1v1. He had the Harmony Orb. It's not ideal for Crystal to fight against.
Yeah, unfair. Oh, Yakpunk just slams Hybe under the ground there. It's going to be a 6v5, make it a 6v4 as Guangzhou picks one up with the Deadeye, and that's going to send the rest of Valiant back to spawn here. And they're going to lose Wei and Shocheng on the way out, too. So, nice stagger by New York, and with his as wacky as that point A seemed to be, it seems like New York has definitely found a bit of stability here on B, but that's a sneaky push from Molan Ryan. Got it a couple yards at least.
Yeah, I mean, you take whatever progress you can get here, right?
Oh, yeah.
At the very least for Valiant, to a degree, it's easier to find opportunities on point B, but you also hit a point where the payload is pushed up enough and it's not. I mean, it's still very defender-focused here. You have a huge conundrum. How do you force people off the high ground? And, realistically speaking, approaching situations like this, it's been tough for the Valiant all year long where, again, this entire time we're talking, though, it's been a good, 20 seconds where nothing has happened. Valiant has just been posturing, and time continues ticking down, and Crystal, in this case, caught by Flora.
Yeah, HP ticking down, too, pretty quickly via Flora, but a minute 30 on the clock now means that the Valiant really need to get something going here.
Yeah, again, it's just, they take so long to set up where we've just been caught in a perpetual loop. Okay.
All right, grab for a grab. Why not? Shocheng just tosses his out. And that does lead to a couple kills, more than a couple kills for the Valiant. That was not the result of that tussle that I expected.
Also, I don't know why New York is engaging there. New York had no reason to be that aggressive and go for a grab in that situation. They had full control a little bit further back, and it almost felt like the rank game conundrum where your team's doing so well that they decide, we need to push out further. And then you lose a team fight because of it. New York didn't even need to be there, Doa, is the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you don't need to spawn camp them. You just need to stop the payload from moving forward. If you lose sight of that objective, then you're going to have a bad time, right? EMP comes in.
He dropped it. It's a good one.
Yep, that's right. Does lead to a couple more kills for the Valiant, and it looks like it might lead to a point B pretty soon here.
Yeah, New York now, they've lost all their momentum because of just, in a way, almost seemingly getting bored on top. And the Valiant are punishing pretty well. They followed up with a good EMP. They take down New York Bees. They're going to get point B off this, and now they extend the map, go to point C. Still, minute 40 left to go. So, New York, they need to slap themselves here and go, let's focus. Bubble's not enough. He's still got it.
Yeah. Wow, all right. Well, it's been a messy series, for sure. New York has to kind of sum up some defensive strength here to keep this from getting worse, as that payload for Valiant continues to move. And remember, we can't stress this enough, that with the position that New York is in with their overall record, they don't just need to win the series, they really need every map win they can.
Yeah, I mean, the tiebreaker situation could get pretty tense, but Kalios catches Milan Ran, who's just trying to build some ult. Meanwhile, taking a look at Flora, just kind of looking around, going, gotta throw this pulse bomb on. But, that's the other thing, too, about Valiant. When they lose someone early, even the Sombra, they have some long resets, though. Everyone went back. It's a long time off the field, so now 45 seconds left to go. Potentially final fight coming up here. We'll see what the Valiant have in store for this engage. Crystal close to the pulse bomb. Might be the one to set this up, and he sees everyone clustered up. He just doesn't quite have the pulse bomb yet.
Oh, is the grab going to be there for Kalios? No, not quite. Shocheng gets the kill into Guangzhou, though, so Valiant, with another one on the floor. They might have found a way into this.
Yeah, both DPS are down. New York is actually in a really tough spot here. Kalios gonna drop the Graviton in the corner, force out the Transcendence. And now Jonak decides to pile on in, goes, we don't need a DPS. Kalios at 100 energy, he is our DPS. And it's working out, keep him down, but not for much longer. The tables get turned, all in the room, Dragon out of nowhere for Guangzhou, as Hy-Vee just takes refuge in the corner. Meanwhile, Doha, we're in overtime. As this goes on, Valiant still have 2 on the cart, as we've had this very extended fight in the side room.
It's an insane barroom brawl from these two teams right now, but at the end of the day, that payload's still floating forward. Yakpunk trying desperately to hold it here. This is getting a little bit tense now for New York. Jonak manages to find one on Bolanran. Maybe that'll be the beginning of New York finally getting the hold here on point C.
Hit? No.
Bomb? Not quite. No, that was close, though, with Silver 3 down, and that's it. New York does manage to hold, but still a much better push than I think Valiant were expecting to get the way that, or the early part of that round went.
I mean, the early part of the round didn't go well until Yakpung just decided to offer himself up to the gods and go, shoot me with your entire team, see what happens.
I volunteer as tribute.
He messed around and he found out, I suppose. I don't know what to tell you, Doa, but it worked out well for the Valiant, and all in all, though, is definitely a very sloppy display of Overwatch on both sides to a degree, I would say.
Yeah, it is. If you're a fan of clean, pristine, crisp Overwatch play, it has not really been happening that much yet in this series, but it has been fun.
Yeah.
As always. It gets exciting.
It's been back. Yeah, what more can you ask for? But now the Valiant, they move to defense. New York looking to drive this a little bit into point C to pick up the second map win here. But, Blizzard World's one of those maps where you can't take anything for granted. You have 2 bad pushes in the beginning on point A, and suddenly you're going, oh boy, am I going to get first held? It happens more often than you think.
It does happen quite a bit.
Let's shoot for a new high score.
I just feel bad for all the, everybody that wanted to go to Blizzard World, but it's been closed because of this whole payload situation for a long time now. Yeah. All the people from Overwatch just kind of overrunning Blizzard World. No one getting to ride the rides. Maybe the ones in the distance. Maybe that part of the park is open. Who knows?
Yeah, it's like, what if we just conducted our war versus the Omnics right here in the middle of the theme park?
That's right. Right on a flight to Duskhaven. Darkhaven? What's the name of that place? I don't even remember.
Duskhaven. Duskwood. The Haven is not.
Right. Dusk.
Oh. New York right now looking for a win. Definitely being a lot more aggressive in the setup than we saw from Valiant a round ago. They're taking the fight to Nine right here in the corner. Nine, though, for now, just hiding back. Now trying to rotate out. Oh, Hy-Vee gets caught mid-rotation. You lose your Brig that early in the fight. It does not bode well for the rest. Yakpun coming alive. And that's going to be a very quick point A, Noah.
Yeah, that was a tank show right there, man. I mean, that was Kalios doing an excellent job of putting his bubble on exactly the right person, getting a ton of energy, doing a ton of damage, and then just great follow-up from Yakpung in positioning as well. I mean, they really kind of made it easy for the rest of the team to just kind of casually waltz onto the point.
Yeah, also the weird thing there for the Valiant is that they committed to hiding in the room, and then halfway through that, they decided they wanted to walk out and just give infinity free value to Yakpung. Like, the rotational decision there, if you're going to hide in the room and go, you want the other team to dive in, do that and then try and retake after if they go straight to point. But they did a weird fusion of the two, and it was not good. It was more of an abomination. You know, a horror against nature.
It's kind of more of those mixed calls from the Valiant, where it seems like the team just can't get on the same page. And, you know, that's what we've learned time and time again this season, is that the communication tends to kind of break down, it feels like.
It does, but New York right now, keeping the payload moving at a good clip. Guangzhou being very, very far back. I mean, to a degree that McCree's effective range actually not as great when you're that far away from the action. So now New York,
we're going for real.
They're going to go for the high ground.
Yeah.
Silver 3, it's a nice ult that gets Kalios. Not a bad engage from the Valiant that time around.
All right. Well, I mean, enough damage out of that pulse bomb from Nolan Ryan to be able to pick up another one on the Yakpung from Shocheng there.
If you're Valiant, you've done your job. You don't need to stay in here. Like, yeah, you could go for extra cleanup kills, but you got multiple. The problem is that you stayed too long. Silver 3 died, and now New York, they have respawns coming back in. They don't have to worry about Silver 3 in the retake. They don't have to respect the idea of the Hammond falling it down. And, you know, here comes New York. They're just going to walk at the Valiant and force them off the high ground.
Yep, that's right. Now
Silver 3's back, though.
Yep, New York having to cede the high ground for a moment there. But they're able to get back to the payload pretty easily here. Silver 3 down, no support there as he jumped onto the point. Very rough. Now Yakpung, getting very low. Gets back to his healers, but he needs to get healed.
Yeah, Yakpung had a win of prayer. Finally gets healed, but that was pretty impressive. That you see the ball and just goes, we will solo grab the ball. And that was the end of Silver 3. Yakpung, nice ball through at the top, off the nano. New York getting good, consistent progress. Where you think about the time game here, New York is very far ahead to finishing out the map and going up 2-0.
And remember, they don't even need to finish the entire thing, ZP. They just need to get there about, like, what, 2/3 of the way through point C, and that'll do it. But, you know, getting back to Valiant a little bit, it seems like they're kind of getting caught up halfway through, you know, and they need to find a way to be able to complete some of these pushes. And losing your Zenyatta early does not do you any favors.
I think the problem for Valiant is that at times their engages are very slow to happen, and then when they do have something good happen, they don't know when to just, you know, let it go and go, we've got something good, back out. Because this entire push from New York really started when Silver 3 just stayed in a little bit too long, got caught off a fight that was originally won by the Valiant. So, you know, they have their good moments, but they don't put it all together, and they still, you know, make elementary mistakes.
Yeah, it's a matter of learning how to do proper rotations in Overwatch, right? I mean, if you get those kills, you pull back, you go to the objective, you make them come to you because now you've got the numbers advantage. But you know, that's not what we've been seeing from the Valiant yet tonight. That said, couple kills here as the payload is nearly at the end here. Let's see if Valiant can hold on. Oh, Hy-Vee down.
New York's playing scrappy here. They don't go for the reset. Guangzhou just stays in. Electric Cowboy time. Put over to the left. Looking. What's he gonna find? Well, that's Silver 3. Silver 3 actually gets healed on. Transcendence coming out just at the nick of time to save him. Crystal though, special delivery. The Hellfire missile from Flora and New York. They're getting the eliminations they need here. Valiant trying to keep it close, but this grab of time might have just sealed the deal.
I think it did. I think that was a great grab from Kalios to end it. And indeed, Seoul Dynasty does take up. Why do I keep saying Seoul Dynasty? New York Excelsior takes another map. What is wrong with me tonight, ZP? Seriously.
Honestly, you've just expressed to me your intense desire that the Seoul Dynasty do well. And it's one of those things where, you know, you got Tigers on the mind. I don't have to tell you.
I do. Wow. What can I say? Well, I'm going to try to figure out what teams I'm casting as we take a break. Don't go anywhere, guys. Overwatch League coming back in just a moment. We'll see if Valiant can get some momentum going or if the series ends in our next map.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
And we're back here at the Overwatch League. NYXL up 2-0 over the LA Valiant. And ZP, you know, it has been wild, wacky, messy, whatever adjectives you want to throw at it. But New York's been able to come out on top. Both maps already. Valiant, I don't know. What do you think? Think they got a chance? Taking a map maybe?
Again, it's
possible,
you know, the same.
actually.
There's a chance always, but it's kind of like the same story we've been seeing all season long, where the Valiant will have moments where you're like, wow, that was a good fight. It was a good play. You know, players like Crystal will have moments where they look really good. You know, there'll be times where the gauge is on the same page, and then there'll be other times where you'll be watching the Valiant go on the offense, and you'll just be waiting and waiting, and seemingly nothing will ever happen. So it's. You know, it's a little bit frustrating at times watching Valiant because, you know, at some level you could look and be like, man, there has to be some potential in this team. But, you know, they haven't quite realized it, Doa, and, you know, they are very quickly running out of time to, you know, do much with it because even though they're out of season playoffs, they could do a Countdown Cup run, but, you know, it gets harder and harder with every game you lose.
It sure does. We saw Two Feather being sub back in, Guangzhou out on the New York Excelsior side for the next map. But you're right. I mean, I really wonder what the shot calling situation is like on the LA Valiant, because it might not be, the players as a unit. It might also be whoever is kind of taking that role as the in-game leader being a little bit indecisive. It's hard to tell without being able to hear the comms and then having someone who can translate those comms for us. But I do wonder, kind of, because when you see things, it does take a long time. So I wonder if that does come from the shot calling as well sometimes too.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? It's one of those things where, there's so many factors that go into an Overwatch League match where, even from the outside in with a lot of Overwatch watched, you can only speculate, Doa. But right now, I think that you look at the end result, which is that things have not been good for the Valiant, and now they're in a situation where they have to go for the reverse sweep, where there are some people that believe in the reverse sweep. I haven't looked today, but I'm sure Tezande is out there going yes, Tezande, this is where the sleep is getting to me. But yeah, going wings out 3-2. Or you got to respect the fandom. You got to respect the fandom.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. I mean, and again, I tried to put a positive spin on it earlier because I don't think there's anything wrong with being an LA Valiant fan. No one should be looked down on for being a fan of this team. But, and if you are a fan of this team, again, the thing you want to look for is progress, right? You don't even really need to look for match wins at this point or even game wins. You just need to see progress, right? And so that's kind of the most concerning thing is when you see those offensive rounds for the Valiant and they're still kind of stuck looking the same way as they did in the very first week of the season. That's where you kind of think, all right, maybe some changes do need to happen to this team again during the offseason. Maybe, some swaps do need to be made because you want to see some sort of change in a positive way from then and now. And I feel like while we've seen some good individual moments, maybe even a couple good team fights here and there, for the most part, it feels like we're watching the same Valiant now that we saw at the very beginning of the season.
Yeah, it does. And, on the same though, I talked a lot about the Valiant. They kind of look at New York. I do take some criticism on New York here where, part of it is that, okay, Valiant plays very unique in the sense that you're actually under less pressure at times than other teams. But, there's just been points in the series where New York has made sloppy mistakes where, you might be getting everything you want where you're not under pressure at a really good point to defend on, point B, Hollywood, right? Or even you go back, or sorry, Hollywood, Blizzard World, or point A, but you just take what you're given, right? You don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to have Yakpung, dive out and get shot at by 5 people. You don't have to, go super deep and grab one person. Just, have the discipline to stay and defend where it's good to defend, right? You don't have to, give the opponent opportunities, which New York kind of did there, so.
They have been, and we talked about New York's playoff hopes. We talked about their, Countdown Cup playoff hopes. And you're going to need to play better than what we've seen against the LA Valiant so far tonight to really have much of a run there. Even if they do end up 3-0ing the Valiant, definitely going to need to bring something a bit cleaner for some of their later matches in the next couple weeks.
Yep. But we are heading into Rialto, which could be the final map of the series. Valiant going to be looking for the reverse sweep, and there he is, the beautiful man himself. That's right, the one and only Torbjorn. Out onto the field where, are we living in a Torb world for this meta? We very well might be.
I think he's great on this map in particular. You've got a lot of chokes that Molten Core is extremely effective at covering, especially that first major choke to finish point A. We did see, too, at the bottom of the screen that New York, this is their best map type. In fact, it's the only map type that they have a winning record. So, now as a Valiant, you're going up against New York in their best sort of situation. So, the pressure's on.
Definitely is. All right. We haven't seen it yet so far, but now New York going, we're going to run with the Hangzhou. Hangzhou Sombra is going to be their flavor of approach here up against the Torb. Going up, going down. Flora catches the support immediately, so Flora making Hangzhou work. Not wasting much time.
That's right. Taking out the Torb turret as well, so good start for Flora here. The Hangzhou can be nice again because no damage fall off like some of those hit scan characters now, like you mentioned earlier, but also there's just a lot of narrow corridors that the defense likes to stack up in as they get ready to go in for a fight. And so if you can trap them in there, like Kalios just trapped Silver 3, you can get some pretty big Dragon Strike results as well. But they looks like they don't even need the ult right now. They're just kind of cleaning up Valiant as they go along.
Silver 3 just got caught out of position. You need to rotate quite a bit earlier there. Instead, it was just the the being stuck in the court, the shield going, please don't come over and take me out. New York did go over and take him out. And this has been very one-sided thus far, Dilla.
It has. Kill onto Flora at least comes in, but then Crystal not able to really follow that up with anything yet. Yeah, there goes Silver 3. So it is going to be point A taken by New York. And you know, we talked a little bit about what that Torbjorn brings, and one of the things that I really liked from Seoul Dynasty earlier, from what Prophet showed us, is the ability to control that last little choke on point A. But as you can see, Molanran not even able to get the Molten Core online in time.
Yeah, it's not going to be up for this next fight unless the poking just goes on forever. And you know, you look at Flora here. Flora, already a good Sonic Arrow. He's just going to have opportunities for quick pickoffs. Valiant, meanwhile, you know, they're playing something that's a little bit more close range based. Oh boy, the EP comes out, hits 4. Silver 3 in danger.
Oh, the
Bionade on. Are they going to finish off Silver 3? He's trying to just walk away as a reset. It's not very fast. Oh, the Dragon chases him on down just when the Valiant think they might have gone away. A good engage coming in from New York. And,
can you swim,
should be point B.
Oh, doesn't matter.
I don't think he'd be good at swimming.
Yeah.
I feel like he's covered in armor. Like his legs and arms probably don't give him a whole lot of thrust. Like
probably. But I think especially all the massive amounts of heavy metal armor probably are not conducive to staying afloat. Silver 3 down again. There's a Molten Core from Molanran. He spreads the blue goo, but it doesn't seem like well, it looks like or it looks like New York's gonna have to back up a little bit. And Molanran able to zone enough with that ultimate to give his help his team come in and take a team fight.
Yeah, I mean, Friday just got stuck in the core going, I'm not stepping on that. I'm not walking over there. I'm just going to sit here. Like, I don't
Who would want to?
Yeah. Does not look like something fun to step in. But Flora walks up, eats a flashbang to the face. Yeah, went a little bit far out. Maybe wasn't expected Valiant to be holding this far forward as Crystal walking up there pretty deeply.
Yeah. Wow, this is a good place to try to defend initially. You've got the payload way back there. You can defend the high ground. But that said, Feather able to sneak back and now draws the defense back. Huge anti-nade again on a lot of members of Valiant, but unfortunately for New York, weren't able to really follow up on that. They did, however, get positioning up.
They did.
It was nano time.
Jonak waiting. Nano the Akpong, EMP for good measure. Hits both tanks. Crystal in danger. Same map. And Yakpun definitely been looking better the last 2 maps, I'd say. You know, thinking back to his performance at the end of the Silver Showdown was pretty rough. But good engagements from New York here. It's coming together.
New York is not messing around anymore. I feel like this is kind of one of the cleaner maps we've seen from NYXL tonight. They look like they want to close this one out.
And they're well on their way here. I mean, the Valiant, there's so many flaws in how they're going about it here that, you know, they kind of have to roll the dice and hope everything comes up the right way to, you know, even take a map. And, you know, New York right now, they're playing consistent enough. They have cleaned things up a lot, I think, relative to map 1, a bit on map 2. And, you know, so far it's been the best map they've put together all night.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, you could tell they just want to try to end it right here if they can. Oh wow, Crystal's so close, or rather, Flora's so close to the Dragon Strike. Nice kill onto Jonak from Crystal, actually. Well, he does have some individual talent for sure. It looks like they're going to be able to push back NYXL for now.
Silver 3 still gets caught, but that's not going to be enough. New York got caught a bit out of position, a little bit spread out. We're able to find a few key pickoffs, so still a whole lot of time left here for New York. But, you know, again, that's kind of one of those fights that Valiant will put together every now and then, going like, wait, we've put together a good fight. The problem for the Valiant is that they really struggle doing that more than a few times in a row.
Yeah.
Next fight looking good for them, though, especially in the front line.
I mean, yeah, they've got a lot of tools to use on this next defense, and that's really what you want to have when you're trying to put together a long hold like this.
Here we go. New York on the way in. The Supercharger already down is put in a tough spot by Silver 3. Not able to play around the Molten Core. Nearly as well as one. Oh boy, here comes Bomb. Diving up and over. Doesn't get kills, but does funnel the Valiant out. Meanwhile, counter
Payload's moving. Payload's moving.
Yeah.
It stopped there, but that was another couple yards by New York, and it looks like they're going to be able to keep it going.
Yeah, it's going to be more than that, though, as New York gets last little bit of cleanup kills here, and yeah, it's going to be a few members of the Valiant stringing it on. This is unfortunate for Soul 3. It's like, what do you mean I have to be the first one back out to fight? It's like, well, you were the first one to die, which means you get to be the first one to die again.
You got to touch. Oh, that's a nice Dragon Strike as well, trapping a few people in the hallway. And that is going to be it. New York gets it done. 1:49 on the clock for NYXL as they finish their attack run.
Just still a pretty darn fast time for Rialto on top of it. So, yeah, to recap, if you're just tuning in, Valiant now down 2 maps in the series and now must have a pretty substantial comeback just to keep things alive and play spoil with New York. But for what we've seen so far, New York is in a very good position to just close this one out.
Yeah.
What do we got here?
Oh, we got a bit of a replay to watch. Got a feeling there's going to be a nano boost involved. Yep. This was one of the better engages by New York that we've seen today. This looked pretty clean.
Yep. Drop the nano, hop into the room, take everyone out, and you know the EMP. You could argue the EMP wasn't the most impactful there, but it did its job. It was good enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it got them a lot of progress, which at the end of the day, if you get that, hey, that's good enough. Now the defense comes in. I wonder if we're going to see Crystal actually stick with the Doomfist. It wouldn't be unheard of. We'll see. I feel like we're going to see a swap though.
I mean, I wouldn't mind the Doom here. I think, you know, Doom's one of those heroes you go to where it's like, well, even if it's not meta, you can drop it in. You can mess with the opponent's game plan. You know,
sure.
Doom also, you know, if you have the right engages, you can really just throw a team off. But yeah, as we talk about it, it's not going to be Doom. It's going to be a Widow probably for a shot or two, and then maybe Doom. We'll see.
Yeah.
Far
Let's see if you can find a pick. But it's kind of funny because Pharah is going to cause everyone to duck and take cover here, so I feel like you're kind of making it harder for your Widowmaker to find picks in this case. And yeah, he's not going to find any. Going to swap over to the McCree. Looks like a couple switches happening. Yeah, Arisa, Torbjorn, and Hybe swapping over to the Brigitte as well. So big swaps for Valiant.
They go to the swaps with a better comp matchup, but they also lose 35 seconds off the clock for it. So it does not come without a penalty there. And I think they were hoping to see New York like run a Zarya or something so the Fire would have more room. They saw the Diva and said, nope, not going to mess with it.
Wow. Crystal just not able to connect onto the head of Feather.
Yeah, that was less Feather having a good evasion, more Crystal just a little bit off.
Yeah, a little bit.
There we go. Valiant now in the room. Payload right now not getting pushed here. New York actually very comfortable just hold here up top. As again, Valiant are taking a long time to be decisive in this push. They're slowly trying to grip their way through the top, but Jonak builds a very quick Transcendence. Drops Transcendence, and New York is very comfortable just diving on in.
Yeah. I mean, when you've got that Transcendence healing coming in, you can be as aggressive as you want to be, and you're going to be fine. Nobody's going to get one shot from anything that's going to come out of the Valiant right in that particular fight. Good start for the defense, and you know, that whole push from Valiant took a very long time, ZP. That was like over a minute for that first push to just occur.
Well, that's a Valiant mantra, is that it's just slow. It is, they are perhaps the slowest team in the Overwatch League at making pushes work, and it was so slow that, you know, it gave Jonak enough time for a Transcendence in the fight where normally you wouldn't have a Transcendence in that fight at that timing, but it just took such a long time for the Valiant to get there that Jonak's like, whoa, I got Transcendence, this is pretty cool. I'm gonna use it.
Yep, why not? Halfway to another one right now, too. There's the EMP. Jonak does get the kill on the Crystal here. That's a good start for New York. And it gets another one. Oh, Jonak wants to get some stats. He's clicking heads now.
Jonak's just like, I feel the Season 1 power core. Oh, he's dead.
Nah, never mind.
Not entirely a Season 1 power core.
He felt it for a second. All right, Friday getting a little bit bloodthirsty there, too.
It's like one of those things where you know, someone older is like, I feel the power by you, my back.
There you go.
there you go, Jonak. Well, he'll be back soon enough, and still close to a Transcendence, I suppose.
Healing over here.
Yep. All right.
Crystal,
well, all right.
pick on the floor. That's a decent start.
Yeah.
Now they can just run it down mid. They don't have to go for the ultra-long approach to the high ground. Although, as I say, under pressure.
Oh, Jonak.
Drops the multi-core so early. It's like, okay, don't have to go into the building, but they didn't need to dive on in. But as I said, Jonak dies immediately after the Transcendence. And again, this is what I was saying earlier about New York getting sloppy. New York did not have to dive in that aggressively in that situation.
Right.
And as a result, Valiant probably going to get point B off this.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Valiant was able to get Jonak to use that ultimate in a little bit of an inopportune way and able to push through. But point A, with 30 seconds remaining, is still a little bit scary here. And New York is going to have another chance to defend here. If they can stop it here, they can just win the series.
That EMP's
Friday
huge.
down, though. Good start for Valiant. Big EMP. I mean, massive 6-man EMP, but nobody got killed after that.
Well, people got low. The EMP came out at a point where New York had already compromised themselves in the neutral game. So it's like you get the big EMP, but you don't have the health and the positioning to actually punish after it. So there's more than one element to making an EMP play work.
Yeah.
Not though.
Well, if you're
they
Feather,
get through
you're
point
like,
A. Yeah.
If you're Feather, you're pretty tilted right now. You're like, I hit all 6 of them and you all died.
Yeah, but the joke's just like, no, it might be your fault. We didn't say the go yet, but either way, the Valiant still have to make up for lost time here, though. 2 minutes left to go is not a whole lot on point B. But they are still alive for now as Crystal heads on over, Deadeye in tow, looking for Jonak. Oh, is 1 shot away.
Oh no, and Shou Cheng loses his mech. That's a good start for New York to try to push back here.
Yeah, also, point blank Widow being played by Flora now, going, why play the Widow from behind when you can just be with your team?
Yeah.
Frontline.
Easier to click their head when it fills your entire field of view.
Yeah. Why not?
See ya. Oh, oh, Diva went down there to remech. That was a smart move, actually. Jumping down to the boat to try to stay safe. I mean, Shou Cheng not going to get away with it, but that was a tricky little move. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, it nearly worked. Unfortunately for the Valiant, it ended up being an even longer stagger, but it wasn't a bad idea.
I appreciate the effort, CP. I think the attempt was worth it.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, we might be losing the series in a horrific fashion as per the norm, but somewhere out there someone picked up a useful Diva tip. So, value was had, in addition to the token. So.
Yeah, Shou Cheng got to take a nice little boat ride.
Yeah.
Always nice.
Flora
in
picks up
Venice
Crystal,
or
which is going to delay the Valiant even more. 1 minute left to go.
Yeah. I mean, and this is really what the Widowmaker brings more than anything else, as Flora fights for his life here, is that you get one pick on them as they're coming out of spawn, and then that slows an already slow-pushing team down quite a bit. Molenran trying to throw some molten blue lava up into that upper area, but not really getting a whole lot accomplished with that, aside from maybe a bit of zoning anyway, but they're still not back to their own payload.
Yeah, it was also a weird time to drop the Molten Core where, again, you look where the Valiant are. Okay, Crystal gets picked off again. Jonak firing. And, the Valiant have taken so long to even get over there, and they get over there, they lose 2 people immediately, and Flora's just like, oh, I'm going to get you. What?
Well, yeah, he's caught between a bridge and a sniper place. He's down now. Jonak just finds a pick anyway, and yeah, I think this might be the end of it right here, ZB.
Not with a bang, but with a whimper.
Like that.
With a tortured stagger onto the payload over a bridge too far. I don't know what to say. But this is a good defense by New York. All in all, it's just about done.
The bridges of Molenran County always makes me cry, ZB. That's the end of the series. NYXL able to take it 3-0. And again, it might seem like a bit of a silly series here and there, but New York, if they want to have any playoff hopes at all, these are series that they need to 3-0. Yes. That said, they got to do it cleaner next time.
Yeah, I mean, for New York, thankfully, if you're a fan of New York, you did look at that like, okay, you've played better as it went on. And,
sure.
For the fans that don't support the Valiant, well, the Valiant, same story as always, I suppose. And
yeah.
I mean,
if you're a fan of the Valiant at this point, you know what you're in for, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like being a Jets fan in the NFL. It's like, you're in for misery regardless. Like, you're going to the stadium, you're bringing the bag, you're throwing it over your head and going, yeah, we haven't won a single game. It is what it is.
But the thing is, there's a lot of Shanghai Dragons fans out there that were fans back in 2018, and that loyalty has paid off big, So I'm just saying, if you're a Valiant fan, don't feel bad. There's always next season. Don't worry about it. Let's talk about our player of the match, though. It's going to be the tank player. It's going to be Yakpong from New York Excelsior. And yeah, just playing a solid series overall. What can you say? The Winston especially, I think, was fairly impressive, but it's great to see a good wrecking ball from time to time as well.
Yeah, I think Yakpong had better engages here. I mean, there were a few moments where Yakpong of last stage reared his head. You know, I think back to Blizzard World where he took the 1v5 for no apparent reason, just blew up. But other than that, I mean, I think Yakpong looked more improved here. Obviously, it's against a Valiant that kind of struggle in punishing tanks in general, but one step at a time. Where you look at this New York team, the number one thing they needed to improve from the last stage was tank play, particularly main tank play, and Yakpong looked better. So it's building on something, and we'll see if New York can keep this level of play up against other teams in APAC as the stage goes on.
Yep, that's correct. And you can see it was a lot of cleanup. Yakpong again, our player of the match. And there you go. That was it, CP. That was NYXL versus LA Valiant. And yeah, kind of went as we expected.
It was a Valiant game without a whole lot of surprises, I would say. It was the usual billing for a Valiant game. The one thing that's very predictable in APAC, like generally Dragons games have been predictable, Valiant games have been predictable. Everything else, who knows,
Pretty much. Well, we've got a quick break coming up, and when we come back, a little bit more breakdown of that match, and then we go on to our final series of the night. Do not go anywhere. More Overwatch League coming at you right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Overwatch League.
We are back here on the Overwatch League. Doe and ZP here with you. It's time for some bold predictions presented by Pringles. And ZP, why don't you lead us off here in our game break? What is your bold prediction that you'd like to make about anything?
So you know what?
Anything at all.
I'm going off the script. Do you say anything at all?
Okay.
That's right. I'm not going to talk about the last game.
Anything
As
at
highlights go. Let me tell you, Josh Wilkinson, sideshow. You are going down. The fact that you think you will win the talent takedown is an absolute joke. Our team is going to crush you. We got veteran experience. We got top-tier skill. You think Jaws is going to carry that team? Please. I'm going to put him in the ground. Doa, to you.
Nothing more needs to be said. I mean, that didn't sound like a very bold prediction, man. That sounded like just that sounds like just a given to me. That sounds like a fact of life. We're going to take down Josh's team. Like, I don't even think that needs to be predicted. It's just something everyone's expecting, right? That's how I feel.
I don't know. That's all I got. The series we just saw, there's not a lot of bold preds there. I can't say the Valiant. Well, I can't pred that the Valiant will win a game because I don't think that's going to happen. We'll see where New York goes. New York gets tough.
I wonder. I mean, who knows? But if they're going to, they do play Charge later, and I suppose that would be theoretically the other team they'd have a shot against. Then there's always the Chengdu Hunters, who can put in some pretty puzzling performances from time to time. So I don't think it's likely Valiant is going to win a series this season, but I will say it's not impossible. I'm not confident enough in that to make a bold prediction, though. Is it a bold prediction to say they're going to go winless?
No, that's not bold at all. That's a very safe prediction.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's nothing bold about it.
All right. Well, never mind then. I won't make that one.
We've just talked about the nature of bold predictions rather than actually making a bold prediction.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you got to take a step back and look at things from more a holistic perspective. What is a bold prediction? What is a prediction even?
It's a thing you say about the possibility of something happening in the future that you think will happen. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. But it looks like so far no variance in our timeline. Everything proceeding as planned as New York Excelsior gets a 3-0 over LA Valiant. But we're not done yet. We have Philadelphia Fusion taking on the Shanghai Dragons coming up next. It's going to be great. Don't go anywhere. The Overwatch League returns right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles. Stay in the game.
Gladiators saves him, so not quite. What kind of damage can we find there? There's double supports down. Fusion can win this fight now.
Yeah, they absolutely can. Because of Blast not going to find anything. He's going to send the tanks off the side of the map. Doesn't manage to make it happen. Rascal will get flooded out of the sky. Finally, 3 low. He has to let it go. He kites back to try to stay alive, but look at the knockoff kills coming through. Funny Answer finds 1, but the Dragons find 2. The Coach Gun sends Rascal off the side of the map. Now Hotba is eliminated. Funny Astro takes down Limp. The Death Blossom comes out from Rascal. Finds Void. Barrage with Flood finds 2. He gets taken out now by the Death Blossom because the res is used on the Limp. QO is hacked. He cannot use the EMP at the moment. Does have it ready to go. Self-destruct from Void. Sends it over towards the spawn. Towards an EQ. Dies. You cannot allow that to happen if you're the Fusion.
We have returned here at the Overwatch League. Doa and ZP here with you, ready to guide you through the final match of the night. It's going to be the Philadelphia Fusion taking on the Shanghai Dragons. And ZP, we were talking about this one a lot coming into this one because Shanghai Dragons looking great, as always, of course. They are definitely contenders to win it all yet again this year. But Philadelphia Fusion is a team that started so hot at the beginning of the season, has kind of dropped off a bit since then.
Yeah, they have, and I mean, for the Fusion, now it's really a question whether or not they'll even make the overall playoffs proper because, the last 2 stages, though, they haven't looked good. They had a good start, and then, they've fallen off pretty heavily, and, this is kind of a litmus test game here of, okay, Fusion, do you have what it takes to fight against the best of the best? Because they get crushed by the Dragons here. I mean, not only does it bode ill for them just making the playoffs in general, but it's also one of those warning signs going, well, if the Dragons are the best of APAC and you stand no chance against them, then as a Fusion fan, you kind of look at the season and go like, well, I sure hope we get 4th, which isn't a good feeling. So if you're a Fusion fan, you're looking at this going like, please show us the Fusion we know you could be, not the Fusion that we regularly see.
There you go. Well, let's take a look at one of those players in particular. It's going to be Alarm, who is, of course, one of the support players that we're going to see in our series tonight. Formerly a main tank, but has been a support for a long time now and has been putting together some pretty good stat lines despite the fact that his team's been kind of struggling. And so if you're looking for bright spots on the team to follow, Alarm is definitely one of them.
Yeah, Alarm has been the one player where regardless of what else has been going on for the Fusion all year, Alarm is incredibly reliable. He is one of the very best players in the entire Overwatch League, arguably the best support in the Overwatch League. A player that, again, it doesn't matter what the situation is, Alarm will always play well. And, if the Fusion are going to contest the top of the league, it has to be via Alarm.
Yeah. That's right. Well, as we get ready for our match, let's get ready to get hyped as we introduce the Philadelphia Fusion.
Making mincemeat of the opposition. This was what we were promised when this guy was joining the league.
Perfect stuff from Funny Astro.
Mano, that is filthy.
Plants the sticky bombs. Great stuff from Shockwave.
As Rascal makes his mark.
And here they are, your Philadelphia Fusion. And this is a team that ZP, I feel like a lot of people were kind of down on coming into the season. The expectations were not very high. They proved those wrong as they had a pretty amazing first stage here in the tournament. But since then, the struggle has been real. Can they summon the strength to bring it back together here for the final push to the playoffs?
Well, Doe, I think a better way of summing up the beginning part of the season for the Fusion into the middle part is that they proved all the doubters wrong before they proved all the doubters right is kind of where they've been at. And now they have to prove the doubters wrong again to prove that, they have what it takes to fight among the best of the best to make it into the playoffs proper. But now, of course, it is just all about the Countdown Cup. And, it's a tough schedule coming up for Philly and the Dragons. You do not get a tougher matchup in all of Overwatch League. And, see if the Fusion are up to the task.
Yeah, the Dragons, as you can see on the screen right now, they're going to start develop today, actually. Interesting. But the Dragons, like you mentioned, have looked like the strongest team in the league this year. They've come close to winning it in the past. I feel like this year might actually be the year that everyone's been kind of prophesying since the 0-40 season, is that this is the year the organization will finally win the Overwatch League. Well, we'll see. I'm not ready to make that bold prediction yet, but they are certainly in a good position to make a solid run at it.
Yeah, I think overall, the Dragons are probably the favorite across the board, which is an easy thing to say given their tournament success. But also, just on the eye test alone, the Dragons look incredible. There's no weakness on this team. Every single player just simply is amazing. Wins their head-to-head matchups. The team coordination is next level. The strategizing, like whatever metric you want to do to judge an Overwatch League team, the Dragons have been the best of the best with, very little to criticize, especially as of late, which means, again, if you're a Fusion fan looking at this, you go in here going like, man, I want the Fusion to play well, but also you're up against the Dragons, so they have to really have a statement game here, because on that same note, if the Fusion come out and win this game, suddenly all the hope is alive in Philly.
True enough. I think as far as Shanghai goes, a lot of eyes are going to be undeveloped to see how he performs today. Looks like we're going to Busan for our first map of the series, our control map, and a chance for Philly to get something going here, or for Shanghai to prove that they are still going to be the best team in the league, the team to beat going into not just the Countdown Cup playoffs, but the overall playoffs a little bit later this year.
Now you might be looking at this going like, who's Develop? Why is Develop in instead of Fleta? And Develop, by a lot of people's reckoning, one of the top prospects not in the Overwatch League. A lot of people thought Shanghai, it was a getting richer situation, but you never quite know how players will perform when subjected to the Overwatch League pressure. So very interested to see how Develop plays here on the Tracer here and now.
Yep, that's right. Get things started here on Shrine. Lip has been just a fantastic hit scan player to watch. Develop. Ooh, that's how you start it. 1v1 against Carpe. Develop. Put an exclamation point on the first sentence of the Overwatch League.
Two already, about to make a three, just diving on in.
Hello?
What's the old adage about, like, someone going to prison wanting to make a statement so you take down the baddest guy in the yard? I mean, Develop just walked in and is like, you should respect me. Look at this. I just crushed Carpe. Carpe who?
Walked up, sucker punched him. Man,
yeah, well,
he's going to need to change his name. The development is done. Just change your name to Complete at this point.
No, the development is for the opposition, saying you might want to develop if you want to play.
That's true. Yeah, it's a message to the opponent, I guess, at this point. Wow, what a great start. Lip down, so here's a chance for Develop to really carry his team's going to be short-handed here as they try to hold the point.
Pulse Bomb already up. Carpe only at 50%. Where is Develop right now? Taking down Alarm, that would be a little bit this. But okay, Funny Astro just being consistent. Block out for Gita, gets a second pick off. Now Fusion hang over to the point. Izayaki gets caught. Develop, takes down Alarm!
Alarm!
All right, he's going down the hit list of important Fusion players. Develop, but I don't know if it's enough to flip the point because the rest of Fusion has done very, very well so far.
Yeah,
poking around.
You can be the best player in the world, but you can only do so much when it's a 1v6, right? Void down as well. And so
the Dragons still control the point.
I was going to say, this stagger has been really great, CP. Mono finally gets the kill on the Develop, but Shanghai was able to get another 20% or so out of that. That was a solid first hold.
Yeah, that was like one of those fights where they lost the fight, but it didn't feel like they lost the fight for a while, simply for how long they maintained control. So Dragon's still in a good spot. Fusion, though, I mean, if they play their ult economy right, they also should be able to bring this back in lore, especially with the EMP online. So, yeah, right now I look towards EQO and Alarm and just go, how do you manage the ult economy?
Yeah. I'm going to find out soon. They've got to make some decisions here. How are they going to kind of, like, air out the efficiency for this, as the ultimates are building on the Shanghai side as well. You're only going to have this advantage as a Fusion for so long. There's a minefield slamming people up. Let's see if it makes any difference. EQO comes in with the EMP, only hits EJ Gon, it looks like.
It hit Fade also, but
Somerall.
No, it's not. The Tread Sense is going to come in. The Dragons are not at all phased. No. Pulse Bomb hits his Zarya shield. Graviton fading away. Hop able to take down Lee Jae-gon. Dragons still struggling to get anything done here. Fusion very, very healthy so far as Hoppa has been charged up, good to go. Finally falls Lip, but might have done enough to put the fight over the top as Carpe strikes back.
Yeah.
Not going to let Develop get every good engage here. And the Fusion,
I mean,
you know, they burnt through all their ultimates, but they hold on.
You know Carpe is going to take that personally. When Develop comes out, wins that 1v1, Carpe is going to be hunting you for the rest of the series.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Definitely so. Our next fight, though, options here for the Dragons. Lip holding on to the EMP. Gonna be the main thing that the Dragons play around Lip. Rolling here in the back going, all right, is everyone ready? And still waiting. Looking, drops EMP, looks for alarm. And right now, under pressure falls!
Oh, dear.
Yeah, alarm was not phased.
Doesn't care, man. He doesn't need any shields to win that 1v1, apparently.
Also, it's been a bad day for for Sombras versus Zed. Thinking back to last series. Hoppa, though, down early.
Yeah,
Dragons still flooding up to the point.
Hoppa got low, finished himself off with a right click. Void comes in and claims another one for the Shanghai side, and they are on the verge of flipping this back, but it is 99% for the Philadelphia Fusion already. Looks like it'll stay there, and the round is going to start to swing back in Shanghai's favor.
That's actually unreal, though, for how that started. I mean, you can't ask more for the alarm. Deals with the EMP. You're up one, and then the neutral game just evolves to where you lose 2 people. I mean, oh, man, that's a tough go for the Fusion. And now Doa running into what could be the final fight. EMP on deck for the Fusion. What's EQO going to do?
Well, this is that strength we know from Shanghai, where they're so scrappy. They have the ability to win those 1v1s that even when they're down one of their players, they can still come back and win fights like that. But Lip being down, that one hurts a little bit.
Hurts a lot. I mean, now if you're Shanghai, you're hoping to help the Miracle Pulse Bomb. The EMP comes out. Fate is
Also
immediately destroyed. Fusion up to easy 2 right now. Develop with the Pulse Bomb doesn't get anything. And yeah, Fusion, they've brought this back and then some, Doa, after what was a tough start. Carpe on the fish shot to Void, and you think that'll be it. We'll see how long the Dragons can delay.
I mean, yeah, now Develop really needs to be a hero because Fate went down. He didn't even get to put the bombs down. He came to drop bombs, but he didn't get to. Carpe with another kill on to Develop at the end. I feel like that's a message right there from Carpe saying, you know, we're going to take the round. I'm going to take you out one last time. Carpe remembers.
Yep. Carpe definitely coming alive as the round went on, and honestly, good comeback from the Fusion. It was a tough beginning, and you know, overall managed ult economy decently well, and you know, brought it back. The one fight that was weird is the fight where they were up 6v5 and lost, but you know, it was the fight immediately after this. But alarm still on point.
Yep. All right, round number 2. Chance for Shanghai to tie it up. You know, in our last series, we did see New York drop that first round on Control. Control does tend to be one of the more, you know, I would say lesser skilled favored team maps, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, but we are heading into
more of a brawl.
Definitely is. We have Soldier v Soldiers. Okay, Carpe strikes.
Okay.
Down early. And now, this is just an easy push in for Fusion where the Dragons, they don't even want to fight the rest of it. Like, why give up the L charge? You still have time before the point unlocks. And Fate could be swapping around. They're getting off the Orisa comp and going to something a little bit more mobile here. Onto the ball, Diva. And Develop onto Tracer. The legs already thrown away.
Yeah. All right, so Fusion will be able to grab the point early, it looks like, unless Lip. Nope, Lip doesn't decide to contest that for the moment. I really like EQO and the Soldier 76 as well. You can put down so much covering fire, you can give your team that little bit of extra off-healing, and on a point like this, where there's a lot of chokes that your opponents have to come through, that level of damage that Soldier can just push into those chokes is really something else. Really important.
I mean, the reason why they swapped... Oh, that's such a nice engage! Is Fall Through going to be there, though? No! Carpe catches his Yaki. Fusion shrugs off the opening from Fate, and Carpe is on point right now. Carpe is looking much better than he did at the end of the Summer Showdown. So, good tidings for Philly here so far. A clean 35% to 0 as the Dragons looking a little bit lost.
It seems like Develop made one of the oldest mistakes to make in the Overwatch League, and that's make Carpe mad. Because if you do that, nobody is going to be more clutch than that guy. On board with Develop now to see if he can start to swing things back in Shanghai's favor.
Right now, Shanghai a little bit split. EQO goes, I'm going to chase this down. I'm going to look for you. I'm going to see if I can land a Helix rocket. Forces both Develop and Fate back. Fate
why not?
Scavenging around for health. And while this is going on, Shanghai is losing a lot of time, though, as you know, they're split up between Develop and Fate. looking for a way to engage. They're getting pressured, and the rest of Shanghai not on the point. And finally, the engage comes in, but Fusion is in such a good spot to repel this Huppa. Holding down, and that Lee Gon just barely able to get away there. Not able.
Okay, what fall-off damage?
Yeah, well, as it turns out, if you hit the head, it still does a lot to us. So 85%. The Dragons just got discombobulated for being split that long. They didn't know how to engage this, and they're just getting picked apart one by one as the Fusion look reinvigorated, 95%, and this could be a very quick Fusion win here at map 1.
I think you might be right, ZP. 99% to 0 right now, and the fight already going that way. And Carpe has come to play today, man. Another kill onto Izzyaki. EQO with another one for good measure, and as strong as Develop looked in the opening seconds, the opening moments of that round, Carpe has looked like the MVP.
Yeah, I mean, this is... Oh, one gets a bomb. It's not quite over yet. It's in overtime. Okay, Carpe with 2.
Yeah. And around it's time for Carpe to clean up. Yep, wait for that.
Or miss the Moira 4 times in a row.
Oh my gosh. What is going on? All right, Carpe.
A little bit of happy feet from the Moira.
Hard right now.
Yeah, you actually stole all of his power. Every word you spoke, it's like this.
I space jammed him, man. I didn't ask for these powers. He's gonna have to back off. They're gonna give it over. Wow. That round looked all but over, but it was just by the slimmest of margins that Shanghai was able to come back with that fight.
Yeah, I mean, they got helped out by some shots being missed there, I suppose. And yeah, Shanghai, a new lease on life. Still a long way to go to get back into this round, but these staggers definitely helping. Fusion getting thrown back because I think part of Fusion is like, wait, did we win this? And no, you have not.
I mean, I cannot remember the last time I saw a round that looked that over get turned around. That was a pretty incredible reversal by the Shanghai Dragons. You do not see that every day.
No, and okay, 99 to 34%. The biggest problem here for Fusion is that their ult economy is in shambles. I mean, they're going to need to throw one fight away potentially just to get another opportunity in. EQO now the Sombra going to take a fight to build EMP at a minimum, and Fusion now being a little bit slow to head in.
Yeah, at least they do have time. All right, Develop following the Dragon Strike in. He's going to throw out the Pulse Bomb, not going to find anybody. Fate does find Alarm, though, so Shanghai's got a chance to continue holding this.
Shanghai really timed that well, Doa, where they nearly lost a point from behind. They waited the maximum amount of time to dive the front line, then went back and contested, didn't give up the flip. That was really, really well played by Shanghai to just play the front and back line at the same point as Fusion, tried to split them, something that usually works out pretty well for teams when executed. But now, 99 to 74%, the Dragons have nearly flipped this round back.
Yep. All right, Fusion has a rally. They're going to use it right away to pave the way in. Alarm does have that Transcendence to follow up. When the pressure comes in, Lee Jae-gon has a rally for the Dragons as well. So lots of armor all around in this fight. Self-destruct. Oh,
Lip gets caught!
Lip. Oh no, great start for Fusion.
Now it's really all on Develop on the DPS end. Dragons still control the point, 96%. It's going to be 99 to 99. Carpe and Tracer darting around. Lee Jae-gon out of the fight. Fusion working with the pre-giving advantage. Develop chasing down Carpe. Carpe at 17 HP, looking for help anywhere. Mono, though, gets 3 on the other end. And the Fusion have just about secured this here. A little bit more troublesome than they would have liked for how the round started, but they do finish strong, Doa, and that is map 1 going the way of the Fusion.
That is indeed map 1 going the way of the Fusion. They're able to do it, and we talked about it going into this series. The Fusion needs to step it up again. They're thinking about the overall playoffs. They're thinking about the playoffs here in the final stage of the tournament, and you got to have performances like that. Shanghai looks strong. Fusion just a little bit stronger in map 1. That said, the Dragons do not sleep. They're just going to take a break for a few minutes as they get ready for the second map, and then we'll see if this series is going to get tied up. Don't go anywhere. The Overwatch League returns right after this.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.